NATO decided to fight a limited war, attacking only carefully selected and approved targets in Serbia and Kosovo. NATO used the most accurate bombs and missiles in the American arsenal, fired from aircraft flying at a minimum of 15,000 feet or from nearby Navy cruisers and destroyers. From the beginning of the operation, the use of NATO ground troops in Kosovo was ruled out. NATO's plan to rely exclusively on air power came under immediate criticism.
From the outset, senior people in the Pentagon, said in their advice to senior leaders at the White House, we don't think we can stop ethnic cleansing with air power alone. We don't think we can necessarily, or we're not sure we can necessarily get the Serb forces out of Kosovo with air power alone. So there was always this friction between what the political people wanted done and what the military people felt they could accomplish.
The dazzling speed, futuristic technology, and destructive power of today's combat aircraft give them an aura of invincibility. But there is a widespread tendency to overestimate their effectiveness in combat.
The movies were such a powerful influence. Everyone saw these marvelous photographs of aircraft sweeping in, shooting up the bad guys, and then going off while the music was playing. And so there was a myth of aircraft that had caught the American imagination. And those of us who were soldiers believed in this as well. And we believed in this until we had to learn differently.
Carl Bernard is a retired Army colonel and a veteran of the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Colonel Bernard claims to have been attacked from the air more times than any living American soldier. More often than not, these attacks were from American aircraft.
The first thing we Americans learned about American aircraft, while they might be lost and shooting at you, they didn't hit you. And that's the big secret. They don't hit you.
According to Colonel Bernard, airplanes can be useful tools in combat. But he says an attack from the air can be easily escaped by well-prepared infantry units operating in familiar territory.
The futility of aircraft trying to attack a ground element is well enough known. And every military school teaches you how to protect yourself. Now, can they hit a building? Sure. Can they hit a bridge? Yeah. Can they beat a fighting element? No, that's not proven at all.
I think part of the problem with the early phases of the NATO campaign was a lack of a clear military objective achievable by air power.
Charles Link is a retired Air Force Major General who today serves as president of the Air Force Memorial Foundation. A strong advocate of air power, even General Link doubted NATO's ability to stop ethnic cleansing with bombs and missiles.
You may remember that in the opening days of this conflict, I would suggest that somewhere in the neighborhood of 95% of all the expert military commentary predicted a failure.
NATO's ruling out the use of ground forces in Kosovo and President Clinton's decision to reveal that information to the public fueled the dismay and pessimism of military leaders.
The problem was to announce that we weren't going to use ground forces.
Just about every military or tactical expert you'll talk to will say that's foolish. To begin a war by saying we're only going to commit so much to it, it just makes no sense.
I think that was an extraordinarily foolish thing to do. I mean, it was the equivalent of saying, Milosevic, we're going to attack you militarily, but we want to assure you that our commitment is rather tentative. Although he knew he was playing a much superior player, those bungled first moves put him in the frame of mind that he might be able to hold out for at least a draw and maybe a win.
President Milosevic almost certainly would have questioned whether ethnic cleansing in Kosovo could possibly be worth the immense damage Serbia would suffer in an all-out war with NATO. But as many had feared, Milosevic found that surviving a muted campaign of NATO airstrikes would be a far lesser challenge.
These marvelous weapons that reach and see everything doesn't defeat the ingenuity of someone dedicated to staying alive and understanding how to fight.